woof, woof. Boom. Hey, everybody. It is week 14. We have some new music that we're starting off with, some new copyright-free music. That artist with that song, Here We Go Brownies, Here We Go. I'm going to go ahead and link that in the chat right now. Copy, share, because I want to give this guy a little bit of love because he's allowing us to use the music without paying for anything. So here, I'm throwing Spotify in there. Name is Bear Kincaid. He's got another song too called Feeling Dangerous. Is pretty cool. And we're going to be playing that quite a bit. It'll be the new Brownie post game intro song and the Wednesday show intro song. So the guy was really nice. So no games today for the Browns, which is surprising. In a blue moon, we get these primetime games, so we don't get the Sunday matchup, which is why I'm not wearing a Brown shirt, but I am wearing a Browns hat. And I got my dad with me. Dad, how's it going?
Good, Mike. Good, Mike. Ready? Some interesting games this afternoon and the big one tonight. So it does have some impact on us. So I'll be watching with curiosity, one, to find out who wins, how they play, and then what the outcomes are. Because with each loss to a competing team, we get closer to the playoffs. So
right,
can only be good for us. We got the Colts and the Raiders at 1:00. One of those teams is going to lose. So I'm not really sure I'm rooting for one or the other since we got one up on the Colts. Maybe it's the Colts and we let them beat the Raiders. So because the Raiders beat us once, I don't know.
I think that's probably the what we have to be hoping for at this point is the Raiders to lose to the Colts because we have the wild card up on them. Right. Just give some shout outs really quick. Some guys in chat. Browns fan 1977. Hambones here. Talking to Grub and Media. Isaiah Gassina. Freddie Kitchens is in the house. Coach Freddie Kitchens is always a loyal Brownie post-game chat contributor. So appreciate all you guys being here with us. And I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a slow day because we're not necessarily talking Browns right now. But as my dad was saying, we got the big Steelers-Bills game tonight. And there's a lot of playoff implications that are with a lot of these games going on today that we should absolutely be talking about. Also, Kansas City and Miami is another one to watch. It's a game in Miami, and with 8-4 Dolphins, and let me go to NFL.
Who is out? So it's going to be Fitzpatrick. So, not that that means anything because I think Kansas City, even if they bring their B game, it shouldn't be close. It should be unless Miami plays out of their butts.
So here's where it's going to get interesting. If the Bills win and they go to 10-3, and the Steelers go to 11-2, it's almost better for us if the Steelers win, and this is why. We have an outside chance of winning the AFC North now that the Steelers lost last week to Washington. It's an outside chance. Steelers basically, I think, have to lose. The Steelers have to straight up lose 4 games. So they have to lose 3 of the last 4, including the one to the Browns. So let's say they lose to the Bills. Now they're 11-2. Then they have to lose to us and either the Bengals or the Colts at home. Right? So the Colts playing in Pittsburgh is probably not one that they're going to be favored. Right? Even though they're going to be playing for their life as well to stay alive. The Bengals, you can just count that as a win for the Steelers right now. The Steelers, there's no way they lose to the Bengals. 0% chance.
Yeah, but that's what they said about Washington game too, and look what happened.
Nah,
You think
I would say with Washington though, with Chase Young healthy, with Alex Smith in there, not Dwayne Haskins, that was a different Washington team than we played.
predictions where everybody was picking the Steelers? That they gave Washington no chance, even though they were okay.
Right.
Uh, the Bengals without Burrow are not okay,
Mhm.
but somebody lives up. Again, I go back to a lot of college games because I watch them. I think Florida was a 21 point favorite to beat LSU, and LSU beat them yesterday. So, I mean, stranger things can happen. Guys get up. It's a rivalry game.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the NFL is the NFL. There are any given Sunday,
They
but
take them lightly, and Cincinnati takes them down. They would love nothing better than to kick
and it's a
Pittsburgh.
Monday night game, so they're going to be playing. It's going to be a prime time game for the Steelers
Yeah,
and the Bengals. So that could be an interest. And I think they probably scheduled that thinking it was going to be like Joe Burrow versus
yeah,
Roethlisberger.
right, right,
Unfortunately. Well, it'd also be an interesting one to watch then. So if we're going to talk about that, then the Bengals this week play the Cowboys. So it'll be a bit of a tune-up game for the Bengals again after getting pretty much smashed by the Dolphins, 19-7. They scored. The Bengals scored in the first quarter and then didn't score again for the rest of the game, and the
right.
Dolphins took care of them. They also lost to the Giants. I mean, the Bengals haven't won since the Titans back in November 1st. So, and that was with Joe Burrow, and this is a different team. I don't know if the Bengals have enough to win another game because they play the Cowboys today, which I would take probably the Cowboys, even though it's in Cincinnati, then the Steelers, then the Texans, then the Ravens. I mean,
Right.
they've got a shot against the Cowboys and against the Texans, but they don't necessarily even want to win those games, right? To secure the draft position at this point, they're going to play tough, but um,
Well, another game that's going to be interesting, slight effect on us is going to be the Giants game, because I understand that even though Daniel Jones has a hamstring that's hobbled him for the last week and a half or whatever, he's starting. He's playing today. So it'll be interesting to see how well he plays, how well the Giants play, and are they going to be really serious competition for us the following week? How many players they lose, etc. Now I'm trying not to get ahead of our game on Monday night, which is special, important to us.
yeah,
But
sure.
you always got to look at the competition, and if I'd rather go up against Colt McCoy than uh, is he the backup in the Giants? Colt McCoy?
Yes.
Yeah. So he even though he would probably want to have some revenge on us because we didn't really under a different regime, we didn't treat him as good as we could have.
Yes, like
Uh,
several regimes ago now.
yeah, so maybe that's water under the bridge with him. But still, I mean, he wants to play. He wants to play well. So whether it's Daniel Jones or Colt McCoy, it's going to be interesting, to watch that game and see how the Giants are holding up. If
Right.
they, I don't even know who they're playing. What's the schedule?
For
Uh,
today,
I
uh,
had it here.
the Giants play the Cardinals,
Yeah.
and
So
the Cardinals are one game out of the wild card. They're still fighting to stay alive in the playoff picture.
and Murray he's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde guy. Uh, he can play great, unstoppable, scrambling, throwing, score a touchdown, lead him on a drive within a minute, minute and a half. So
Hmm.
very explosive. He's got great receivers. But then, on the next series, he could fumble. He could throw a bad interception, a pick six. He holds on to the ball too much. Maybe he tries to do too much. But so it'll be interesting to see who shows up against the Giants, whether it's the good Kyle Murray or the bad Kyle Murray or a
Yeah,
combination
that's
of both.
true. Sports Expert 101, how's it going? We have, there's a lot of teams that are going to be eliminated today. I mean, there's a lot that are essentially eliminated already. Like the Broncos are 4-8, the Texans are 5-7. These are essentially they're out, but they'll be officially eliminated today. The Cowboys, Eagles, Panthers, Falcons, these guys are going to be gone. And then you've got those hanger-on teams. The Washington,
Mhm.
even though they're 12th currently in the NFC in terms of the playoff picture in the bubble, If the Giants lose a couple of games, who knows? An 8-8 team could easily win that division. Even though
Right.
the Giants right now are 5-7, so is Washington. So it's going to teeter on who wins a game or not, which is going to be kind of dangerous for us when we play them. There's just a lot going on right now. The good thing about us right now is we have that advantage in the AFC. So as I'm looking at it, we're the only 9-win team in the AFC. Alex Massimiani, what's going on, Alex? We're the only 9-win non-leading, non-division leading team, and we've got some very winnable games. I think the Ravens game tomorrow now is a winnable game, whereas
Oh, good.
the first game that we played against them, we had a lot of chips that were stacked against us in that game, and it would have been a pretty big mountain to overcome for so many. I mean, the OTAs that were missing, the no preseason games, you know, a new install of an offense, new coaches, new systems, some new players, and it was just kind of a disaster from the very beginning. And I also
Yeah.
think Stefanski learned from those early losses, the Steelers loss, the Ravens loss, and he's analyzing this and going, you know what, Baker's good at a couple things. Let's do what he does well, not
Sure.
force him to do anything. Run the ball really well, and we've been able to stay just a fraction of a hair above our competition to win those games. And at the end of the day, this is the thing that has been tough with the Browns in the past. It doesn't matter if you lose by 1 point or you lose by 50 points, it's a loss. Same thing with a win. You win by 1 point or you win by 50 points, it's a win. And that's all that matters all the way down to the Super Bowl, right? It doesn't matter if you win the Super Bowl by 50 points, nobody cares. 1 point or 50 points, it's all the same. So
Yeah,
we
we're
figured out a way to
we're
win.
it's a lot different than that first game. I mean, they were a better team. We were still trying to figure out who's going to do what. New coach first game. It's new coaching staff, new game plan, new everything.
Right.
Now you fast forward it to week 14. We are the better team. We have the momentum. We have the experience under our belt and all the
Mm-hmm.
wins and the confidence, including Baker, throwing the ball well and making good decisions.
Right.
Uh, so, teams that were going in different directions game one are different than teams going in different directions week 14. So I like our position. I'll be really disappointed if we don't do well against Baltimore. We've set them up. It's a home game. Um, Everything is going in our direction. I think Stefanski will have them ready and primed. So I'm really looking forward to it. It won't hurt us terribly if we lose. We still can get and obviously motivate us to beat the Giants and the Jets, obviously,
Yeah.
and we always have motivation to beat Pittsburgh.
Well,
So
a lot of it, I think, comes down to it comes down to those other playoff teams. If the Dolphins get to 10 wins, they they have the tiebreaker for whatever reason, or at least they did at that point. The Dolphins would be ahead of us. Then you've got the Colts and Titans. We'd be ahead of them at 10 wins. But the Raiders, if the Raiders figured out a way to get to 10, we would be below them because we lost. And if the Ravens figured out a way to get to 10 and they beat us, then they would get it. So imagine this. Imagine the Dolphins get to 10 wins, the Browns get to 10 wins, the Ravens and the Raiders all get to 10 wins. Well, we're on the outside because we lost twice to the Ravens, we lost to the Raiders head to head, and
right.
then the Dolphins had the for some reason have a tiebreaker over us, and I don't know the reason why that. I haven't done the research, so apologize for
Well,
that.
again, it'd be disappointing, but
Massively disappointing.
reality, if we can't get beyond 10 wins with the 4 games that we have, obviously we wouldn't get very far in the playoffs. And
It's true.
who wants to watch their team get blown up in the playoffs? But so it's sort of like you deserve what you get. If you don't play well and you don't beat those two teams that we definitely should beat, which is the Giants and the Jets,
Mhm.
certainly the Jets, then why build on false hopes with a team that's weak? Our two shortfalls today are not having Denzel Ward and not having Odell, but Odell's been out for a couple of weeks now. We can survive him being out. Ward, if somebody gets hot throwing the ball, uh, and that could be Jackson. We got to contain him. We got to make him throw the ball to beat us. But he's capable of doing that. If our guys don't play well in the secondary,
Yep.
if we don't put any pressure on him, if we don't contain him, he can almost single-handedly beat us. So I think Stefanski knows that. He understands that. The rest of the coaching staff knows that.
Yep.
The players know that. So none of his performance should come as a surprise. We just
Sure.
have to hope that with the pressure that we put on him, and we take away maybe a little bit of the running game, so we force him to throw. That's not the a part of his game. So, and we've seen it before. We've seen when he goes off the tracks throwing the ball,
Mhm.
he can make big mistakes. So that's what we shouldn't hang our hat on. We should still score, points. Excuse me. So again, if we can't score points, we're not going to beat them either. So
Yeah. Good point.
it's all in front of us, which is great. In prior years, we've been how many years we're not even close at week 14 of sniffing the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, this is fun.
better year,
This is fun
much better.
football. Just a quick shout out to Rachel on Twitch is over there. J Rod is over on Twitch. I want to say hi. So we are multi-streaming right now. So as you guys know, we are doing both platforms because YouTube will not allow us to get into the monetization. So we can't do super chat. We can't do, but we can do all that stuff on Twitch. So if you guys want to watch it, and I can see the chat in both. If you guys want to watch on YouTube, you can. If you want to watch on Twitch, you can. But the good thing is the thing just popped up. You can subscribe on Twitch, and it's free if you have Amazon. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to us for free on Twitch, which is awesome. And then we get to participate in all that great stuff. So anybody who happens to be in YouTube right now, go over to Twitch, connect your Amazon Prime account, which is just one click. There's a little button there in the profile, and you're good to go. So twitch.com/brownie_postgame.
Yeah. I see Brownie fan 1977 just posted, good news, Teller is off COVID. So,
Oh, that's huge.
yeah, we're going to have him tomorrow night. That's great.
Denzel's out though.
I don't know about Hooper. Anybody have any update on Hooper? It sounds like he's very, very questionable.
Yeah, and I think that's the nice thing about where we are this year with our tight ends. We have, we actually have some depth at tight end. So we still have Njoku, who is starter caliber in the NFL, and we got the Harrison Bryant, the young kid. Rachel says Hoop is still out with his injury, so it looks like he may have a problem there. Our secondary could very quite possibly keep this game out of reach for us. I'm nervous about the DBs. If Ward was here, I'd say 50-50 without him, 70-30, but go Browns. I think if you guys, I love this about the Browns fans. We live in reality, right? We're not wishful thinking. We don't dream about winning and stuff like that. It is the reality, and I appreciate that, Derek, about your sentiment there. But here's the interesting thing: if you guys go and check Engraven Vids, so in ing Raven Vids on YouTube. The guy's awesome. He actually invited me on the show, and I had a little segment in one of his last videos where I said, I don't respect the Ravens, and they took away my Browns when I was 15 years old, and I've never let them. I've never forgiven them for it. But I will tell you a couple things with that. One, I had a guy a Ravens fan send me an email and explain to me, really kind of what was going on during that period, which I obviously know, right? It's an emotional response more than what the reality of it was. I completely have done the research. I know what was happening with the city of Cleveland, with Art Modell, with his financial situation. But I do kind of feel bad again for the Ravens. They lost their team the same way that we lost ours. Um,
Mhm.
Arguably worse. How they lost their team,
Right.
and it just hurts. It hurts that that we had to do that and then watch them win Super Bowls, and it's not a fun thing for us and to get beat by them so bad over the course of the years. But the interesting thing, if you guys go over to Ingraven, he breaks down like what they think their fans think about the
Right.
current situation with the Ravens, and it is like doom and gloom over there. I mean, they're talking about like, do we need to get rid of uh, Lamar Jackson and a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, they're sitting there 7-5, and they're used to being the 11-1 team. They went 14-2 last year. I
Right.
mean, they were almost unbeatable last year.
Yeah.
But the recipe
I
to
mean,
beat the
they
Ravens,
lost some players. They got hurt early on as they got through the early part of the season when they were, I don't know, they were 4-1 or whatever. That's when the wheels started coming off. The COVID hit them hard. So they're the team that beat us game one was from last year. It was, continuation. The team that's going to be on the field tomorrow night is not the same team that beat us last year or beat us in game one, and we are not the same team.
yeah,
So we got all that going for us, including home field, including good weather as is projected, including having Hunt and Chubb in the backfield with a good offensive line that can open up things. So play action should be the game plan of the day. Roll him out, get him out of the pocket, get him away from those big defensive linemen putting their hands up. He sees all right, to throw the ball and but when he's sitting there and those guys give up on the rush and they just put their hands up, it'd be interesting to see how many knockdowns Baker's had, and he's had very few when he's rolled out of the pocket. That should be the game plan, and that's how we should proceed. Anything different than that will be a surprise to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, the recipe to beat the Ravens is pretty simple. You just got to get ahead of them and force them to be one dimensional, and they have to pass. We did the
Right.
same thing to the Titans. The Titans, I think, have a more refined passing game. They can be balanced if they have to, which is why you saw them come back. The
Right.
same thing with the Bengals. The Bengals have, although they have Joe Mixon and Bernard, they have good running backs, but they're built and they were just all in on the pass, which is why they were able to come back. And our secondary has been pretty weak and injured. And then also the Cowboys, same thing. When you go back into the prevent, they picked us apart. At that point, our secondary was not great, and that's the challenge. But if I were to say, if we can get up by 30 points at halftime against the Ravens, it's over. It's over. There's no
Oh
way
yeah,
they're coming back from
I would
that.
agree. I think most people would agree with that too. But
Right,
if
but I
we're
mean the
winning
Titans made it real
14,
close.
14-7, or we're losing 14-7, or it's 14-14, the good thing that we have that we didn't necessarily have in the past, although we saw glimpses of it last year, is that we can finish games. We have the ability to run the clock out with Chubb and Hunt and accuracy by Baker and a defense that maybe can stop a high performing team with a key 3-and-out, that type of thing. So I like our chances in the second half. I get nervous when two times this year we've had huge leads in the first half, and
Yeah.
not that we've blown it, but uh, I guess you could say there's nothing safe in the NFL. I mean, uh,
Well,
certain
and
teams
this is what I
can come
said
back,
against the Titans. If the Titans are not a bad team, they're eight and
right?
four, and they're leading the AFC South. They're a
Right.
good football team for all intents and purposes. And when you take a team like that and you back them into a corner and you force them to fight, they're either going to quit or they're going to fight really hard. And they fought hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
They
that was
did
the
not give up, and they played Jacksonville today, so that's everybody's got a win in Tennessee's column for that. The
sure.
Colts and the Raiders, the Colts got a win to keep pace. Raiders are not going to roll over and play dead for them, so that's going to be my first game to watch. Um, I'll be keying in on Miami and Tennessee as well, and maybe when do the Giants play? The Giants play at 1 o'clock, so I'll be looking at that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering how the Daniel Jones and the Giants are playing in that one because they're the next one up. Next Sunday night, another primetime game, which is great for us. I mean, especially if we win tomorrow night. It's it's great for the franchise, great for the players. It's almost like playoff games that we're in the playoffs already
Sure.
with the way these games are stacking up. And then we come down against the Bengals, no, the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we just hope that we don't come off of that too low. I hope the Jets win so that they're not on the schneid when we have to play them,
Yeah.
because that'll certainly motivate them. They want to get off of that. Greg Williams is gone. I don't know if his son is still there or not, but so we don't have to face him with
The Jets have the Rams, the Browns, the Patriots. It's gonna be tough for the.
yeah,
That's gonna be tough for the Jets. But looking at this, I mean, the Patriots game's winnable.
yeah.
The Patriots aren't unstoppable at this point. You
No,
know,
they got shellacked the other night. I mean,
yeah. So I mean,
that was
they're technically beat, and they would love to have the. If we're gonna win one game and it's only game you can win all season, the Patriots is
yeah,
a pretty good one to win,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So,
Slip it
um,
to them.
yeah, absolutely. So I would say that there. I mean, I think that it's going to be a really, really like I like what you're saying. We're basically in the playoffs now unofficially. The
Hmm.
Chiefs are in. They're the only ones in the AFC who've clinched at this point. Now it's in a home field advantage race with the Steelers. And if the Steelers could easily lose today to the Bills in Buffalo. It was funny. We went this morning because there's no Browns game, so we got up early. We went to the park with the kids, stopped at Dunkin' Donuts for a coffee to get the morning started. And there's a guy at the drive-through who was handing the food through the drive-through of the Dunkin' Donuts with a black mask that had Steelers on it. And
Oh,
I'm
God.
I'm sitting there with this hat on and with my Browns a brown sweatshirt
Hmm.
on, and I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. When he gave me the food as we were leaving, I said, "You guys are gonna get killed tonight." And he goes, "No, no, no, we're not gonna get killed." And you could tell that it just like brightened up his morning because he's like, "All right, let's go for a second." And as I was driving away, he's like, "Hey, have a nice one. Good luck." So it was funny. There are Steelers fans here in Florida. There are Browns fans here in Florida, as we are, evidence of. So it's fun to see that. But I got to tell you, if I'm the Steelers today going into Buffalo, I am nervous as hell because there is now a path to 4 losses. And the Browns, there is a path to 4 wins,
Right.
essentially, because the Ravens are beatable. The Jets and Giants are beatable, and then Steelers at the. Imagine that last game. If it's going to be the difference between us going 13-3 or 12-4, and the same thing with the Steelers, how important and it will be for also home. Then we get a home field game in the playoffs
Right.
against either the Dolphins or like the Colts who we already beat. I mean, at home now. Oh my
Right.
gosh, it'll be huge. It would
Yeah,
be.
it'll be a big disappointment if we get to that final game and it has no meaning for either of us. We're in the playoffs. Win or lose is not going to change who we play or when we play. The Steelers win the division. It's
Mhm.
not going to change when or who they play. So it'll be like, all right, how long do we put our starters in? How long, who pulls the plug first? Who wants to win this meaningless game, you might say?
Yep.
Who wants to risk their players getting hurt the week before, your playoff starts? I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope we have a motivation to, I don't care about the Steelers, but I want us to have a motivation to win that game and not play with backups, not sit on the sidelines, just, mail it in type of thing.
Mhm.
Because is that a Monday night game too, Mike? Or could we
Which game? The Steelers game?
Steelers,
No,
Steelers,
right now it's just a 1 p.m. game on
okay. I don't think there may not even be a Monday night game because of the playoffs and putting people on a short week. So there may not be a Monday night game. So
Let me check. Let me check. So Monday
they could always
night,
move it to Sunday night too. To
Monday night
if it's a big
football.
matchup and it means something for both teams, I could see them, flexing that game to Sunday night again, and that'll be great for us
Yeah,
and
the
put our
the last the last Monday night game is December 28th. Bills Patriots. So you're right. There is not a Monday night game in January. So that ends. Yeah. So wow. So we've got Monday Night Football is dominated by AFC teams. So we have this Monday night's Browns Ravens. Then you get Steelers Bengals. So AFC North all over late game Monday Night Football, and then the 28th, the last game, Bills Patriots, and that'll round out the season for that.
right.
So it was funny. Reflog Chris McNeil, the guy on Twitter, he was saying, how refreshing it is that the Browns aren't playing on Sunday, and then you don't have all the people coming out going, well, the Browns don't play, so at least they can't lose on Sunday if they're not playing, which we've been
Right.
hearing for so long.
Right.
J Rod says Steelers versus Browns in late afternoon CBS game. Yeah, they could flex this out to the late game. And he also says the Squealers cannot run the ball. Yeah, but we prove to a lot of teams that you can run the ball against us if you really want to, but it comes down to if we can do to the Ravens what we did to the Titans with that recipe. Now it was again, can we expect to break the franchise record for most points in one half? Probably not. And the Ravens defense is significantly better than the Titans defense. So
Right.
the Ravens are going to play us really tough, and they're going to want to win that game. They're fighting for their life to stay alive. And if they beat us then twice in the same season, it really makes those last three games from us almost must wins versus, we can, if we get to 11 games, we're winning, we're in the playoffs.
Right.
There's no doubt at 11 wins, you're in the playoffs. I almost don't see a scenario where you couldn't, because it would then take three teams. It would take three teams that have tiebreakers or better than us with 11 games to knock us out of the playoffs, which is just if this was in previous years where there's only two wildcard teams, I'd still be biting my fingernails every game going out for the rest of the season with 9 wins currently at week 14. But because there's three wildcard teams, somebody's going to get in 10-6, and somebody might even get in 9-7, right?
Right.
If there's some collapsing teams here at the end. It's just really, really interesting now that there is a narrative, or there's a path to the AFC North, which nobody 2 weeks ago, when the Steelers were undefeated and when we had some uphill battle games, against the Titans and the Eagles. No, I'm sorry, the Titans and the Jags. If anybody would have told me that we'd have a potential to win the AFC North, I would probably not have believed you.
Yeah, sure.
I would have been
With the
surprised.
being undefeated and going like crazy. Yeah, I mean, just the fact that we're in second place, sort of by ourselves, still trying to stay a little bit under the radar. Although the analysts and the talk show hosts and so forth are starting to notice because Baker did so well last week in the first half. It was just like, his rating was through the roof, even with the fumble that he had there at the end. So everybody's starting to take notice. They will take even more notice if Buffalo wins tonight and
Yep.
we win tomorrow night. They'll have a field day all week about how things have changed and where the Browns are and where the Steelers are and where the Ravens are and where the playoff situation is and whatnot. And the hype will begin, for that last game of the year. We
Sure.
just then have to get through the Giants and the Jets to get to Pittsburgh. So I think a lot of things can change between tonight, tomorrow, and the rest of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I was reflecting on this, yesterday as I was out driving around. I was just thinking about the old Browns, and just in my lifetime, and my first heartbreak as a Browns fan was when they cut Bernie, in 90. What was it, 93 when they cut Bernie, and then
Right.
and then 95 when they left. Those are my two really heartbreaks. I was just becoming that passionate diehard Browns fan when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. And you had to live through Red Right 88, the drive, the fumble, the collapse of the team, the team coming back through Belichick, and then you had to go through those two things as well. And then when the
Mhm.
team came back in 99, all the hope around Tim Couch, which I will still to this day defend as a very adequate expansion team quarterback, even though people think that he was a bust. I do think Tim Couch was still a respectable guy, and I don't think it's fair that Browns fans and people around the league think that he was a bust because he absolutely wasn't. Still, probably is the winningest quarterback we've had since we've been back.
Yeah.
Baker's going to eclipse that, but it took 20 years, give or take. It took 20 years for us to go from Tim Couch to
Has it
Baker
been
Mayfield.
that long? Tim Couch was 20 years ago?
What was 99?
Good Lord.
20 years
Where did
ago.
20 years go?
Right. I mean, you think about that. We came back, I was a sophomore in college. And, there's at the end of the 90s when, you had the Packers, the 49ers, the Cowboys who were really, really good at that time at the end of the 90s. I don't remember football. I don't remember. There was a void in my memory of the late 90s. I didn't watch it because it wasn't there was like, it's like watching a random football game. If you're not betting on it or if you don't have like fantasy stuff on it, then it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
And so I don't really remember the late
I
90s.
don't I don't remember much either. I mean, Tim Couch, the Hail Mary he threw against New Orleans in New Orleans,
Yeah.
uh, that I remember. If you ask me to give you a game or two or a play or two,
Hmm. You know
you
what
know,
I you know what I remember from the
I
early
could,
the early 2000s Browns was Butch Davis. I remember the Butch Davis era. I remember Lee Suggs because he was a Virginia Tech guy.
right?
And my dad and I were at the game in Miami when Lee Suggs broke Jim Brown's record for most rushing attempts in a game. And I
Mm.
think we won that game. I'm pretty sure we won. If not, we lost it right at the end.
Mm.
So I have to go back and look at that. But Lee Suggs was on the Browns, um, and and the Dwayne Rudd play where he took his helmet off, you know, and then you
I
had
I remember that. That was I just could not believe since it was the last play of the game technically was over. The play was down the field. He took it off. He was nowhere near the play either. It wasn't like he was in the middle of the play and
yeah.
took it off and it had some impact. No, the play was down the sidelines. It was an incomplete or a guy caught it and he was running for a little bit, but we were going to win the game. All they had to do is tackle him, which they did. And then the flag comes out and they say he took his helmet off. I mean, you think the refs would have a little bit of discretion, a little bit of leeway, and just ignore that, but no, they had to throw the flag, and it was
Well,
so depressing.
I think
That was against Kansas City too.
that led to Bottlegate. I think that
Yeah.
led to Bottlegate where Browns fans felt, and I still think we feel a lot of times because even last year I felt that we were unfairly targeted by the refs in a
Mm.
way that I had never seen before. And that Dwayne Rudd play, which hurt us and impacted the playoffs, and then when the Browns on the Bottlegate play, where the Browns ran another play, right? There was another play that was ran off, and
Mm.
then they went back, so they had to delete a play
Mm.
from it wasn't like, hey, it started and they blew the whistle and they blew it dead. It started and ended. So we had moved on past that play and they
Mm.
went back, which then resulted in them throwing that red flag.
Mm.
So it was all these things that happened. And then you had the Phil Dawson kick that hit the upright and came back and they called it wrong.
Mm.
That we ended up winning, but it was just like I think that was the thing. We had so many stupid things that have happened to us over the course of the last
Remember
20
when you
years.
have a mediocre team or you have players that are not playing up to their caliber, those things happen to you. You just, if you don't have a coaching staff that's disciplined, in terms of their instruction to the players.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talked earlier before we went on the air about the game last night with Florida and LSU. The guy tackles him at the end of the game. The Florida guy, he takes off his shoe, which is no big deal, but then he proceeds to throw it 20 yards down the field and get a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which leads LSU to go down and kick a field and win the game. I mean, I think we're over that now. I think with this coaching staff, I think Stefanski has drilled it into the guys. We haven't had those really, really, really stupid plays, but we've had a glimpses of
last week Baker fumbling the ball in a quarterback sneak, which could have lost us the game.
But I guess you got to make
if we would have lost that game, let's say the Titans pick up that ball that Baker fumbles and run it in. Kareem Hunt doesn't chase down the guy. They run it in for a touchdown because we gave up.
Right.
Then they do the onside kick. They get it. They go down, score the touchdown, kick the extra point to beat us. That fumble that Baker had would be legend. It would be on par with the worst fumbles in NFL history because it would.
Now we'd have the fumble, the drive, and then the whatever they would call Baker's miscue.
The sneak fumble, which would unfairly because we could have had a guy that tracked him down, and then B, we could have stopped him on defense, and they would have had to go down and actually score a second touchdown. But if he would have gone in there quick enough, right? If Kareem Hunt didn't stop him, they didn't have to burn off all those plays.
Right.
They might have, or thrown a Hail Mary or something, and it would have happened because we were only up by 6 points at that point at the end. Right. So we could have easily lost that game. And so, there was somebody who was just saying that in chat, it's time that we cruise ops. It's time to win and revise history. I think that's the new thing. And these new Browns, this new team isn't, they're not just going to say, oh, woe is me. We've had a history of being, a terrible organization and all these horrible things have happened to us throughout the course of our existence. They don't care about that. They're like, look, we have talent. And ultimately this is by far in my entire life, this is the most talented Browns team I've seen, at least on I can clearly say that offensively. Because I think we have as much, if not better, talent than that 80s teams that went to AFC Championship games. I think our running backs are on par. I think our receivers are on par, if not better, when you have healthy Odell Beckham. I think our offensive line is pretty darn good, and our quarterback is pretty darn good as well. So at least at that level, where we have an opportunity to get better is on the defensive side of the ball. Right? If we're giving up 30 plus points a game, giving up 25 to the Jaguars, like you're giving up those kind of points, you're going to make it close. In the playoffs, it's going to be different. The 35 points to the Titans, God forbid we didn't get up by that many points and we had to fight back and forth. Who knows what would happen? But so over the next 4 games, I'd like to see our defense play very hard. Work on getting those 3 and outs in those 4th down situations, which we got very lucky in against Tennessee. I think right off the gate, the refs blew a call because Derrick Henry, I believe, had the first down. Remember on that 4th down run, and they called him short, which is a penalty not a penalty, which is a call that usually happens to us, right? Where we just get boned on a spot, and we have been boned on spots left and right. The Raiders game last year is a perfect example, same exact thing. I thought Derrick Henry was clearly over the line, but the ref saw it differently, and then after the replay, they still got it.
Couldn't see his other knee, and maybe they had a view that showed his knee going down. And
it's true.
But you're right. We got a break on that one.
Yeah, it was a turnover because it was a midfield turnover that we turned into points. I don't think we turned it into a touchdown. We still turned it into points.
Right.
And so it's good breaks. And I think that the nice thing that we have going into the rest of the season is this doesn't seem like a flash in the pan team. Like the Dolphins, I could see collapsing next year. If Ryan Fitzpatrick says, I want out of here because you're not believing in me and I'm not gonna train my replacement, so you want to go with Tua, go with Tua. But if you want to go with me, then go with me. And there's probably going to be suitors for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick could go to the Jets and be that interim quarterback as they get Trevor Lawrence ready, right? Or something like that. So he could go somewhere else. That's his whole MO. He's the interim quarterback, right? So Ryan
Mhm.
might leave the Dolphins, and then who see what happens with Tua. He could get injured or just not be great. Who knows? But there
True.
are some teams out there that I think are floundering, that they could be good or bad. I think the Ravens are another team that could collapse. They're not as, that foundation is not the same as it was in years past.
I agree.
And Lamar Jackson's the wild card. The whole recipe depends on Lamar. If he plays well, good. If their defense holds teams, if they have to play from behind, they make him throw. Forget it. And then you got some
Yeah,
up and coming teams like the Bengals. Who knows what happened with Joe?
yeah. The Bengals would have been tough next year with Burrow having, a complete year in success this year under his belt. But now with him being out with a serious knee injury and missing more than half the season, I guess,
Yeah,
they're not quite going to be, knocking on our door next year. We can still count on, depending on who they put in there at quarterback and who they upgrade with other players. But we should upgrade as well. We should get better, not worse next year. So that's a little bit of a cushion.
it's true.
Uh, so, but you're right. The Ravens seem to be, and the Pittsburgh too. If Roethlisberger goes
Mm-hmm.
down or he hurts his arm,
Whole nother team, whole new team.
oh yeah,
Look
definitely.
look
I
at
mean,
look at the Patriots. You take Tom Brady off the Patriots,
oh
and
yeah,
and add Cam Newton, who's a experienced professional quarterback with a lot of skills, and they're a mediocre or below average team. Tom
well,
Brady made the
they
difference
lost,
between them.
yeah, they lost Gronk and they lost Edelman. So I mean, you take those three players off of your team, which were the
Talent
heart and
and
soul.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and they lost White, the running back, for a while. Um, so they're clearly beatable. They're not a Belichick team of the past. They're fighting to win every game. So who knows where they've got to upgrade at quarterback. Cam Newton is not the answer for them.
I
He's going to
wonder.
stay with them this year, but he's not the answer long term. I think they trade for somebody who is not, maybe it's Brady-esque. I don't know, but it's hard to do that, and they're not going to get close on the draft. So they got to take somebody who doesn't want to be or becomes a free agent. I'm not sure which free agents, quarterbacks, good ones, are coming out next year, but they clearly should have that on their radar screen to get that position solidified. And then you can go with whatever backup you want. What's his name? Stigman. I guess he played the other night. He didn't play particularly well. Had a couple of good throws, and I forget who their other guy is who had a shot earlier and didn't do well. So they have their work to do.
Yeah. I love where we are as an organization, because for the first time we have a lot of good things going for us. Number one, we have a seemingly on the same page coach and front office, right? And they're
Right.
young. These aren't like guys like that are in their 60s. It's not like we brought Bruce Arians in, right? We
Right.
brought in a guy who's like early 30s, right? So these are guys that are young with energy, that are smart, and they're on the same page. The second thing we have going for us is we have young talent.
Mhm.
Miles, Denzel, Nick, Kareem, Baker, Cooper, all these guys. Hey, we got a new Prime subscriber there, or a new subscriber. I got to move my alert box up. Appreciate that. And
Yeah, if we
I,
can get Greedy Williams back, who hasn't played a lick this year, we get Odell back, who hopefully
there we go.
comes back
Dex
like he.
Labs, the pharmacy, is a new subscriber on YouTube. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, you're right. That I mean, we have to get some of these guys to stay healthy, right? And that's been kind of like, Nick has already had an issue. He had a big issue in college. That there, if you Googled Nick Chubb injury in college and see how his leg was like, you know, the
Torn up.
wrong direction, and how he came back from that. And then you saw him, have another leg injury or knee injury in the pros. It's scary to think every time Nick Chubb touches the ball right now, I hold my breath. That is he gonna get up and everything gonna be okay?
Right.
These guys got to stay healthy. Baker's been able to stay healthy for the most part. Even though he had the rib issue and even though he slid out of bounds, that one year and he kind of fell wrong. The Baker's had a couple like little ding ups. Miles has had. Remember, Miles didn't start for a couple games his rookie year
Right.
because he had the high ankle sprain.
Yeah. Right.
So Miles has been hurt, Nick has been hurt, Denzel's been hurt, Baker's been hurt but played through it, and Joku's been hurt, and Joku, his injuries might end up costing him a spot on the team next year. These guys got to stay healthy, and it's not their fault. I understand that. Like, they're players. Things happen. Nick Chubb, it wasn't anything he did. Odell Beckham wasn't anything he did. He just, unfortunately, it
Right.
was an interception. He came down and tried to do something, and it was a freak injury.
Absolutely.
These things happen. So,
Right.
and then we got to worry about, Engraven Vids is here. What's going on, man? Engraven, I was talking about you earlier, man. I was telling
Mhm.
everybody to go check out your a couple of your videos. A, the one that I was in, which is awesome, and then B, the whole ethos of what's going on in Baltimore. I just watched your recent video about Lamar. Is it time to panic with Lamar? And as we were talking earlier in here in the Browns community, was like, this is great. We haven't felt this in 40 years. Like, whatever happens, devil may cry attitude. But
Right.
then you've got the Ravens who are on the other side that are like, holy crap, we might not make the playoffs after going 14-2 and having the league MVP. What the hell is going? Sky is falling type thing. So, Engraven, tell me, man, I want to know. Just tell everybody in chat, what is going on in the psyche and the mind of Ravens fans right now? I'd like the people in chat to see it, because it's just interesting to see where that thing is going. It's not that concerned about. So Ingraven says, for anybody who's just listening to the audio here, it's not that concerned about Lamar, more so about his development under this coaching staff. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though. It's like a guy like Lamar who comes with such incredibly special physical tools, where he has such an advantage, but then also such a raw and undeveloped skill set at the critical thing that you really need in the quarterback position in the pros, the accuracy and the passing. That has to be, you can't just sit there and let him be running Lamar. You have to turn him into the other way. And I know he's working on it, but again, it still seems to be like, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to go from where he came into the league in terms of accuracy into where he is now. There are very few quarterbacks. Josh Allen's one of them, though,
Yeah.
that you can go back to college and his horrible completion percentage and accuracy, which he's like somehow solved in the pros. And maybe it's Brian Dable, maybe it's the wide receivers that he's got, but Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are two completely different animals, you know.
I'll be
So
right back. I gotta go. I'll be back.
yeah. Don't want to miss the playoffs. I mean, yeah, I agree, man. I don't think anybody wants to miss the playoffs at this point. Um, it's scary to see, because I think, and I was just talking about this before you joined, Engraven. I think that there could be some changes in the Ravens organization when the front office starts meddling, because they're like, oh God, sky's falling, we're panic mode, we're not going to make the playoffs. Front office starts feeling like, oh God, our jobs might be on the line. Ozzy's not there anymore. There could be some changes going on if they don't make some improvements. There's going to be that's scary there. Scary time. This game's even bigger than the Titans game, says Sean. I would agree. I think that this game has so many playoff implications. If the Ravens beat us twice and then we have a tie record, the Ravens then get the playoff spot. That's a big deal. Plus, we want to be able to, losing to the Ravens, splitting with the Ravens every year is probably acceptable for Browns fans, although we want to beat them, but splitting is totally okay. because of how bad we lost to the Ravens week 1. 38-6 is it's not a loss, it's humiliation, right? And it's a sinking feeling that another team manhandled you like that. So if we can come back, and I don't care if we win by 1 point or we win by 30 points, if we 30 points would be great, don't get me wrong. But if we win the game, then we can go and say, look where we were week 1, look where we are today, and moving into the future, the trajectory, the momentum is with us. We get to 10 wins for the first time since 2007, with an opportunity to have the best record ever for the Browns since our comeback in '99. And then once we get to that 10th win with 3 remaining, now we're starting to get into the potential historic era of like best Browns teams ever at this point, with a brand new first-year head coach, with a suspect defense with a lot of injuries. How we made this happen. Imagine if you take Kevin Stefanski and his team and you give him the type of defenses that we've had in the past, right? You give him that level of talent and stability along with this pretty special offense. It is scary. And I will leave you, I'll tell you guys this as well. And I don't think anybody could disagree with this, including Engraven. I don't think anybody can, if we play like we played for that first half against the Titans, which we showed the league, it was a prove-it game for the Browns after having gotten spanked by the Steelers and Ravens, 2 legitimate playoff contenders, and Steelers possibly the best team in the league, get spanked that bad. We have to then go to the Titans and we have to make a statement, and it was a prove-it game, and we not only proved it, but we proved it in that first half better than any other Browns team, including the teams with Otto Graham and Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly and Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar, all those great Browns teams. This Browns team put the franchise most points in a first half in an away game against an AFC division leading team. So I will say this again. If we can play 4 quarters of football, which, guys, you can go back and look, you can clip it from every live stream that I do. If we play 4 quarters of football the way that we played against the Titans, complete, no team in the NFL can beat us, and that is hands down, and it's unequivocal. You cannot beat us if we play 4 quarters like we played that first half against the Titans, hands down. Naked Mutt, we need to show the Ravens we are the monster of the AFC North Division. Show them that we have the QB and the RB and the skill position players to be great for a while. Build the right way this time, including GM. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Hold on. Ristano just texted me. Let me see. He usually gives me like crazy updates. He says, looks like Hooper is out, not good. Yeah, we were trying to, I don't think Ristano's here in chat, but that could be a problem. But again, hey guys, we have a little bit of depth right now at the tight end position with Njoku and with Bryant and even with Carlson. Carlson's there too. He can play. So it's not that bad. Yes, Achilles is the worst injury in sports. I don't know who we were talking about with the Achilles injury. We would beat anyone. Great. Yeah. The national media are now saying that the Browns only beat the Titans because their defense was bad. But before the game, they were putting the Titans up there with the Steelers, Chiefs, and Saints. Yeah, whatever. I agree. Talking to Grubbin, it's always going to be slanted negative towards the Browns. It will always be slanted. And Quincy Carrier, if you go back and look at his tweets, he did the analysis of the quarterbacks, of the other AFC North quarterbacks against the Titans, and all of them ratings were in the dumps. And then you look at Baker's ratings against the Titans, and they were way high. So again, if we had performed the same way as those other AFC North teams against the Titans, yeah, I would say that. Now, do I think the Titans are a Super Bowl contending team? They're not the Chiefs. They're not the Steelers. They're not those teams, right? They're an adequate team. I think the Titans are a 9-7 team that might get to 10 this year, and they're always 9-7. They're just 9 and consistent 7, right? So they're trying to come up with their own. They're trying to come up with their own identity as well. The Titans. They have a defense that's suspect, kind of like ours. They have one great running back. We have 2. They have okay wide receivers. We have good wide receivers. So I think we're a better team than them. And they have Tannehill who can manage the game and play pretty well. Tannehill's not a bad quarterback anymore. He's just like an upper mediocre quarterback that if you put him on a good team like the Titans, he does well. You put him on all those bad teams and the Dolphins, and like I've said over the years, you could have, if you, in those 0-16 and 1-15, the Hugh Jackson era teams, you took Tom Brady in his prime and put him on the Browns. Yeah, we squeak out maybe 5 wins, but not much more than that because we just didn't have the talent around, right? When your wide receivers, your number one wide receiver is Mohamed Massaquoi, right? Or Greg Little, right? When that's your best talent, you're not going to win a lot of games. When you're running backs nobody's ever heard of, you're not going to win games. With the Crowell, Duke Johnson era running backs, guys, we just didn't have the talent. Now we finally do, and you're starting to see the fruits of that. So it's not just the talent on the field, but it's the stability in the coaches and front office. That's the reason why the Browns are doing what we're doing now. And this is where I really think if you look at the stability of the Steelers and the Ravens, who have been by far, and you can't argue this, they've been the kings of the AFC North for the last 20 years. Give or take, the Bengals sneak in there every once in a while with a good team for 2 years in a row and then collapse to the basement, which we just noticed happen. And the Bengals are boom, 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 boom. But the stability teams are the Steelers and the Ravens. John Harbaugh's been there for a really long time. Mike Tomlin's been there for a very long time, and they've had the same talent. The Ravens, interestingly though, went from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson, had to transform their whole team. The Steelers have not had to do that yet. And the Steelers being 11-1 right now, they're not going to have a good draft position. Now, are they going to have a shot at the kid from Florida? Yeah, maybe. Or do they want to try to move up in the draft and try to do that? But I think the challenge of the Steelers now that they are now just finally feeling is they're getting injured. And that's what's happened to the Browns for years and years and years. Our best players were injured. Joe Hayden kept getting injured, and our quarterbacks kept getting injured. And our
Joe Thomas is the only guy who didn't get injured.
Joe Thomas, and even being one of the best offensive linemen in NFL history, it's still resulted in one winning season,
Right?
So you got to put the team around you. And now the Steelers are starting to feel the injuries, and that's what happens if you take guys that are Pro Bowl caliber guys, and offensive linemen, key positions, offensive linemen, linebacker, like role spot that you have to be just really solid in. You take those guys who are experienced and Pro Bowl caliber, and you go from the number 1 to the number 2 on the depth chart. That's a big drop.
Right. I mean, you still got to credit the Steelers though. They lost 2 of their, all pro stars, their running back and Le'Veon Bell, and then the Antonio Brown, the wide receiver. I mean, you take any team that suffers, and they were just they wanted out. They wanted more money. They were prima donnas. They didn't get lost to an injury, so they lost them a different way. Now they filled in with Connor. He's pretty good. He's
had some injury issues there every once in a while.
Yeah,
Connor.
So
I've had him on my fantasy team. He's gone down. I think he had COVID too.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting close here, Dad. It's 12:45. We should probably wrap up.
I think so, Mike. It's getting close to the start of the games.
Which game are you going to be watching?
I think I'm going to watch the Colts and the Raiders. And then just flip channels back and forth between the other games, I guess, whatever I can see locally. I don't have the NFL ticket anymore, so but I'll watch the scoreboard, and obviously as scores happen, I'll trade back and forth. But then again, tonight the Pittsburgh Buffalo game is going to be on.
That'll be huge. I'm looking at the 1:00 games right now. And guys in chat, what game are you guys going to be watching? Real Browns fan 32 says Chiefs Dolphins. I'll probably watch that one, although I have a little bit of side work to do. But we've got Titans Jags. Not really interested. I'll be keeping an eye on the score in that, but I don't really care as much. Chiefs Dolphins is going to be somewhat important for us. I'll probably watch that because if the Chiefs lose, that impacts us.
Yeah,
What if the
impact
Chief,
Steelers.
what if the Chiefs collapse, the Steelers collapse, and we stay on target, and we're the number one seed in the AFC North or in the
Well,
AFC with
Merry
home
Christmas.
field advantage? I mean, so the Chief, that's it. That's an important game. Patriots, or I'm sorry, Broncos, Panthers doesn't matter. Vikings, Broncos, or Buccaneers, I don't care. Texans, Bears, don't care. Cowboys, Bengals, interesting, but I'll whatever. Cardinals, Giants is important too.
Right.
That might be a game that I actually care more about watching than any of the others. Is Cardinals Giants. Colts Raiders is really important, so that's a good one to watch. And then and Dad, I can throw, if you want to watch through VLC, I can throw all those games on so you could switch back and forth through them, including
Yeah.
NFL Red. I might just watch the Red Zone.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that's good. It gives the key plays, but it doesn't give you a feel for how a team is doing. Obviously, the score will tell you if they're losing 21-0.
Yeah,
One team is playing good, the other one's playing crappy.
but
But
I
you're
think,
right.
but it's
The
still,
Arizona, the
it's so
Giants,
great.
a good one to watch.
Yeah, Arizona Giants is gonna be really. I think the red zone, because there's so many games, and I don't want to be flipping back and forth. I'll probably do the red zone. Probably fire up a little bit of a little cheese and bean dip with some nacho chips. Sit down and watch those games, and I'll be tweeting along. So if you guys are on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. We can connect that way. And yeah, I appreciate everybody. Appreciate the new subscribers. Also, just want to throw it out there one more time. You can subscribe to us on Twitch for free if you have Amazon Prime. So if you ever were like, I like the Brownie post game, I like the hype videos, I like the live content, but I don't want to give them $1 for Patreon because and I understand that. I have guys that I love, Dr. Disrespect and Shroud and Ninja and Tim the Tatman and Nick Murph, the guys that I watch personally. I don't support them monetarily, but if you've got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to the channel, which is awesome. So try to do that. And it's free. If you go to Twitch, it's free. Just connect with your Amazon Prime. It's one click, boom, subscribe to it, and then you're helping us out, and we're going to be able to give more giveaways. So help us out there. William Ali Realty. William Ali, if you happen to be in the Northeast Ohio area, you're looking to buy or sell a house, contact William Ali. He's a Browns diehard fan, and if supporter of the channel. Schlegel Law Firm out of Columbus. If you happen to have any legal needs, wills, trusts, evictions, all that kind of stuff, Schlegel Law Firm is there for you. Big fans of the channel. And then yeah, I mean, Sabo Apparel, we're going to be doing the giveaways. So Sabo Apparel and Homage giveaways are going to be
Okay.
done are going to be done tomorrow. So hang out pre and post game tomorrow starting at 6 o'clock. We'll be back at 6. I'm going to put that up on YouTube as a reminder. So 6 o'clock, we're going to be doing that, the pregame show. And then, unfortunately, guys, I'm sorry, but the Wednesday show, the mugs, we usually do mug giveaway. The Cleveland Clothing Co. is sold out of mugs. I think we pushed it so hard that they sold out of mugs. So we have to wait for them to come back into stock. Cleveland Clothing Co. did tell me that they're coming. So we're just gonna have to wait. And I have one back order. I got to give one out to Santino's brother-in-law who's in Florida. So I got to send one to him because I told him I was gonna give him two. So yeah, guys. Anyway, appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate it. Browns fan 1977, Mitch Cox, Michael McKee, real Browns fan 32. The guy Beast Grills is here. Hambone's here. Sean's here. Kyle Duffield's here. Kyle, I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going, man? And then the guys over on Twitch, J Rod and Rachel. Appreciate you guys being here with us. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 6. Go
Go Browns.
Browns! Yeah, I'll throw up the Here We Go brownies anyway. Just one more time.
Should we dance in the water?
It sounds in the background. This is a cool song, guys. I like this song. I like this guy, Bear Kincaid. I'm gonna put the link in the in chat again one more time for everybody. Go Browns. Actually, guys, this is Feeling Dangerous. Feeling Dangerous. Same guy, but different song.
Ready for Judgment Day. A lethal underdog. Walking on to make 'em pay. Woke up feeling dangerous. That stuff so contagious. We got 10 toes down, so let the haters say what they say.
If you ain't orange and brown, you don't matter anyway.
Woke up feeling dangerous. That stuff so contagious. Take a bullet for this team, and never gonna roll with fake.
We coming for this league to bless 'em with the gift of our king.
Woke up feeling dangerous. That stuff so contagious. We got that dog check, pounded away. You made the wrong bet. If you doubt my game, we give our last breath. For one more play, and we'll make 'em know our name. We the real thing. Ain't no cookie cutter fools.
Dogs gotta eat, brothers of the locker room.
Oh yeah, we woke up feeling dangerous. That stuff so contagious. We got that dog check, pounded away. You made the wrong bet. If you doubt my game, we give our last breath. For one more play, and we'll make 'em know our name. We're ready for Judgment Day. I remember what he taught me to never